in the remote reaches of Alaska, have bored a tunnel deep beneath the tundra. Yet that doesn't offer much comfort for. It will trigger a time bomb that could have frightening consequences for humankind. Alaska has always been a wild and beautiful place. But a worrying secret has laid buried for thousands of years in this stunning landscape of ice and snow. Even though life has changed little over the centuries here, has the potential to wreak havoc across the Earth. Scientists have made some troubling revelations. Uncovered far more than they had bargained for. The military's goal was to study the natural phenomenon known as permafrost. What's permafrost? This is a catch-all term for the type of frozen ground that covers some 85% of the entire state. 85%. It's basically soil that has frozen solid. So why is that important? Permafrost impacts around 25% of the northern hemisphere. 25. Consisting of substances such as gravel, sand and soil. Permafrost typically occurs when the ground remains at freezing temperatures for more than a couple of years. 2. It can also be found beneath the depths of our planet's oceans. This phenomenon is more commonly found in regions where, while these frozen sections may be relatively shallow in some areas, they can also stretch for more than 3,000 feet. 3,000 is broken up into several different pieces. But the problems come when they start to melt. Is happening more often than not. Are dwindling. During the course of the 20th century. 20. As time goes on, this situation could only grow worse. Poses some difficult challenges. Those living in the Arctic. Building structures on the tundra can be tough. Causes the ground to thaw. Humans have adapted to these conditions over time. That could all change soon, though. Had changed little in hundreds of years. The frozen ground beneath the Arctic is getting warmer. Kickstart a catastrophic chain of events. Study the unique behavior of. This work gives them the chance to take a fascinating peek into the past. Perceive the tundra as a wasteland. The permafrost is actually full of prehistoric remains that have stayed preserved in the frozen ground for thousands of years. Reported seeing the bones and tusks of mammoths jutting out from the walls and floor there. Is like an entire ecosystem frozen in time. Bursting with the remains of long-dead life. Has been preserved in the frozen expanses beneath its surface. Despite the fascinating appeal of. Also present a real problem. The permafrost contains twice as much carbon as is currently in Earth's atmosphere. Like all other life forms, dead or alive, they are made from carbon. Is currently trapped in. Have begun to wonder what will happen. The Arctic's frozen ground. Launched an experiment to find out. Began to notice that something strange was happening. Drilled into the permafrost and removed sections of ice. Stayed frozen for. Given the right environmental conditions, it came back to life again vigorously. Ancient bacteria had been suspended within the permafrost. As temperatures rose, though, they woke up and got to work. Has been reanimated after a long spell in the ice. The country is also experiencing some of the worst. It was reported that temperatures in Russia are rising at a rate of more than twice that of anywhere else on the planet. 2. With so much permafrost to go around, residents have understandably long adapted to the icy conditions. Buildings are traditionally constructed on stilts that bypass the constantly melting and refreezing active zone. May be starting to raise its head once more. When humans come into contact with, can lead to further complications. Transforming carbon into methane and carbon dioxide in the process. Melting permafrost can also expose underground reservoirs to the open air above, and methane can be expelled into the atmosphere through these new pathways. Experts believe that the volume of carbon released in this fashion will continue to grow. The outlook appears grim from a climate change perspective. While such a process is a necessary one, its effects have been accelerating in recent years.